The role of Linetsky in the valorization of cultural heritage. Author Yakimenko Anna. Introduction. In this study, attention was paid to determining the place of the architect's works in the space of the city, the impact that the building designed by him had on the formation of the urban environment. An architect is a master creator who has his own handwriting and view of modern architecture. His works have a certain idea, reflect the era, demonstrating the attitude to the building of previous periods located nearby. In this paper, all scientific research is based on the study of the creative heritage of Linetsky, namely his Kharkiv period. The architect's works are considered in the context of the urban environment of Kharkiv. It was found that the personality of Linetsky isn't often mentioned in specialized literature, unlike other architects of this period working in Kharkiv. Nevertheless, he is quite a bright creative personality, which gives grounds for the more detailed study of his work. Interested in the analysis of the architect's buildings in the context of the era and the existent at this time urban environment, because Kharkiv was also not an ordinary city and architecture was actively developed here in different directions. In addition, it is promising to further analyze Linetsky's work in the modern urban cross-section, how his buildings live now, how they are perceived in the modern environment, what architectural methods and means can be used to mark them in the space of the city to make them speaking for posterity. Architect Linetsky had a complicated fate, which in a certain was affected his work. First of all, it is quite a wide geography of his project and the opportunity to work in different creative teams and with different authors. This paper focuses on his Kharkiv works. Linetsky worked in Kharkiv for two periods, from 1922 to 1933 and from 1938 to 1947. Both periods are associated with global events in the history and architectural life of the city. That is why the peculiarities of creativity of individual person are of interest. The purpose of the work: to determine the degree of participation of a single architect in the formation of image of Kharkiv, to find out how much he was able to realize as a professional, how his creative heritage continues to live and function in the modern urban environment. The personality of the architect from a certain point in history began to have a certain iconicity. This affected those architects whose names have reached us through the centuries. In the architecture of Ukraine in the early 20th century, there are many names that have been in one way or another forgotten. This is due to many factors, among them the ratio of number of realized and remained only on paper projects, the architect's commitment to the existing government, the direction of his work, the demand at that time, the uniqueness of the handwriting, etc. Let's look at a few of the most striking work of Linetsky in Kharkiv. It should be noted that he has actively involved in the reconstruction of existing building stock, especially the public buildings located in the center of the city and having a significant impact on the formation of a new urban environment. The building of Noble Assembly is located on what was then Mykolaievska Street earlier. It was designed by architects Vasiliev and architect Slobachevsky in 1814 to 1820 in the Russian classicist style. In 1870, after a fire, it was particularly built. In 1922 till 23, the building was adapted to meet the needs of the time to house the new government body, the All-Ukrainian Central Executive Committee, as Kharkiv was the capital. The project was designed by Linetsky. It is described in Charkovsky article reviewed of the construction of Kharkiv in recent years. Origin title was A Review of the Construction of Kharkiv in Recent Years, which was published in magazine Architectural Magazine in 1925. According to this project, the existing building became a wing of the new facility. The general style was kept classistic: pale yellow walls, white columns, cornices, rods, and platebands. Later, the former Astrakhanska Hotel was a building with one facade facing to the former Tevelov Square, New Constitution Square, and the other facing Spartakovsky Lane. The building was redesigned, and the facades were designed in accordance with the building of the All Ukrainian Central Executive Committee by architect Linetsky. The design of the space in front of the building was made taking into account its new purpose. Unfortunately, the square was destroyed, and instead of the white semicircle was created for the car entrance, flanked by two flower beds. In general, the style was preserved, but new essence in the square space were defined due to the significance of the object for that era. The new facade. Another trade facility was designed by Linetsky in the central part of the city. It has also had features of new architecture which made it different from the surrounding buildings. Traditional for the late 19th century, the construction of new passage took place on the site of two-story building. Of two- and two-story building, one of which once housed the editorial office of Watch newspaper Yuzhny Krai. The translation is like a south area. The first project was developed by architect Piskunov before the revolution in 1914, as evidenced in the periodical Southern Region, number 12-12-7. The building was supposed to have 5 floors in addition to the basement and attic. The work was started but not completed due to the difficult situation in the country: war, revolution, devastation. The passageway was completed in peacetime in 1925, but according to the comparative design of Linetsky with the participation of Piskunov. The architectural solution incorporated features of Art Deco, Art Nouveau, and Constructivism. The next project is Birja, new building of the stock exchange. All appeared nearby. The construction was completed in 1925. The Birja, or exchange building, was designed using the motifs of the early Florentine Renaissance styles in the spirit of proletarian classics. The structural basis is the haberdashery store built on 2 floors by the brothers Alshwank brothers. The compositional solution of the exchange mirror the building of the Metropole Hotel. It is 1913 year. Developed in 1913, located symmetrically with respect to the axis of the square. That is, despite the new form, the overall composition of architectural complex of the square was taken into account. Club Harchasmak or Harchasmak Club, based on materials stored at the Central State Museum of Art of Ukraine. This is one of the most interesting examples of Kharkiv constructivism. The decision to build the club was made in 1926. The project was developed by Linetsky in 1928 till 1930 on the site of the Tivoli Garden. The building was quite functional. The semi-basement floor housed in gymnasium with showers, billiard room, cafeteria, theater, workshop, dressing rooms, theater, restrooms, and even a small shooting gallery. The ground floor was occupied by numerous rooms for clubs, children's playrooms, administration office, and an auditorium with 1,200 seats. The floor above was occupied by the library, classrooms, and a lecture hall with 360 seats. It was an exemplary building that became a real cultural center of the district. The three-dimensional composition of the club and the planning techniques ensure the isolation of the club, sports, and spectator parts, but at the same time their interconnection. The club assembly was adorned with a small garden on the territory of which a 700-seat summer cinema, bandstand, and a sport ground were arranged. Unfortunately, the appearance of the building and surrounding area has undergone significant change during the German occupation. The club garden was destroyed, the auditorium and foyer were expanded during the 1974 till 1976 reconstruction, and the fate completely lost in the stylistic features. A positive aspect of the project was a comprehensive solution. The architects took care not only of the planning and figurative structure of the building itself, but also the design and functionally appropriate use of adjacent territory. Polyclinic. The first large public facility in the southern part of the city was the complex of the third exemplary works polyclinic, but in 1925, according to the neoclassical design of architects Ostrovich and Linetsky. The polyclinic occupied a large plot of land separated by the wide strips of greenery from the main thoroughfare of the former Moskovsky Avenue. Now it's a new name of Heroes of Kharkiv Avenue. Ideologically, the classic palace style demonstrated and the assembly of the hospital in the new state to ordinary citizens. It even had an absolutely official additional name, the Palace of Sanitary Education. The overall solution of the clinic was professionally integrated in the surrounding environment, and sanitary requirements were additionally taken into account by creating a protective green strip. Topology of mass housing. Linetsky was also associated with the implementation of a social program to create a well-maintained residential complex of 4 to 5 stories and project for sectional house with isolated apartments. In 1929, the Chervony Barodilnik residential building was built in Danilevskoho Street, the same of which indicates the residence belongs to the alcohol industry. It is worth noting that Chervony Barodilnik is one of the oldest buildings in the Держпром district, as evidenced by lines from Inga Shamrain book Union Wanted. At the end of 1929, when I was 6 months old, we moved to 12 Hospitalny Lane, the Danilevsky Street now. Our house was called the Red Fermenter or Chervony Barodilnik, and it was inhabited by employees and workers of the brewery, trust, and factories. The house and 6 interesting entrances, 4 or 5 stories high. Shamrai, the Unfunctional Memories Union of Rights 2007. Yeah, another residential building designed by Linetsky was built at Nauki Avenue 10 in 1926-1928. The most rational types of apartment layouts were worked out of the project of residential building, which were later implemented in the residential complexes with a full service system. In 1932, together with Bohumolov, he designed a communal residential building at Hirschmana Street. The apartments in the building were intended exclusively for the families of employees and members of the RNK, which at the time was located in Kharkiv, the first capital of Ukraine. The building was designed in the constructivist style, which was popular in the early 30s. The building has a restrained appearance devoid of the decorative ornaments, and it's characterized by the plasticity of its composition. Between the seven-story tower, wings and semicircular front yard open to the street, which is set by 10 entrances of the five-story part of the building. The building is shaped like a horse-show. Each floor has 2, 3, and 4-room apartments. Exceptionally are only the 5th through the 7th floors, on which, as a result of the original construction of the building, there were only 10 apartments. The average living area of the apartment was 67 square meters. The total area is the total area of one apartment average with the toilets and showers is 87 square meters approximately. All the apartments were equipped with double burner, has gas stoves and water heating columns. The building has its own autonomous water heating. Linetsky personality as an architect, here you can see the planning of this building. It's like a horse show, so it's quite interesting and quite specific for the constructivism style. I like it. The personality of Linetsky as an architect is interesting because of the versatility of his work. In addition of designing new objects, new topological forms, functional purpose, he was engaged in the reconstruction of the existing buildings. This fact allows us to determine his attitude to the architecture of previous eras. His role in professional perception of the architecture of urban space. In addition, Linetsky design in co-partnership, which also allows us to study the peculiarities of combining his creative views on modern architecture with the views of his direct colleagues. And analyzing an architect's creative journey within the context of the both contemporary trends and the specific urban landscape, alongside the collaboration with colleagues, provides a clear understanding of the professional personality, accomplishments, and impact on the city's socio-cultural fabric. This perspective transcends mere authorship of architectural landmarks, elevating the architect to a creator of the very urban environment we inhabit today. Thank you for your attention.